What's up guys? So today's video we are speaking about practical programming for strength gains. Behind me I have a copy of Prilipin's table which we're going to be introducing you to and how we can begin to use it to help dictate our training volume for a given percentage of our 1 rep max. That's essentially what the table looks at guys. So it looks at for a given percentage of your 1 rep max how much total training volume we should be looking to achieve at that percentage to bring about those positive adaptations that we seek when we strength train. So we're speaking about improvements in maximal strength. We're talking about improving the skill of the lift, so becoming more efficient at the lift, so that you can continue to make progress in the training. Now, what lifts are we speaking about here, guys? Well, for the most part, we're speaking about the powerlifting big three. So we're speaking about our squat, our deadlift, and our bench press. This table works quite well towards guiding our training and making sure that for each of those lifts, we're achieving a suitable amount of volume without negating our ability to recover and make further progress. So let's talk a little bit about who Prilipin was and how this table came about. So Prilipin was a former Soviet sports scientist. His research and observations came from watching Olympic weightlifting, and I think he went on to become the weightlifting coach for the former Soviet Union also. And he began to look at, for a given percentage of a 1 rep max in either the clean and jerk or the snatch, how many repetitions and how much total training volume the weightlifters would need to achieve in order to bring about the correct adaptation. Now, even though this table is a number of decades old, it's still quite current today. So with a lot of the more popular strength style powerlifting routines that are out there, so 5x5, cube method, Shaco method, a lot of those are still broadly based around what Prilipin discovered all those years ago in terms of percentage of 1 rep max and total training volume you need to achieve in order to bring about those maximal strength adaptations, which means ultimately you can lift more weight, put more weight on the bar, get stronger, whatever you want to call it. I should say without it impacting your ability to recover workout to workout. That's a key point, is that everyone can achieve stupidly crazy amounts of volume. It's just whether it's optimal in the sense that does it allow your nervous system and muscular system to recover from the bout of exercise. So let's now start getting into actually how we use the table to dictate our training volume of the big three, so our squat, our deadlift, and our bench press. I should have said this from the outset. This table, or what we're speaking about today, is ideally suited for people who have some experience in the weight room. So they understand how to squat and they understand how to squat and deadlift well, but they're seeking guidance in terms of how much volume they need to achieve to continue to make progress. This concept is going to be pretty lost on someone who's a beginner in a weight room. At that stage, they just need to go away and learn how to lift and learn how to become effective movers at certain movements. So they need to learn how to squat and deadlift and bench press and chin up and horizontal push and pull, etc., etc. They need to become competent in the weight room. This video is targeting people who are somewhat experienced, so they're kind of at the intermediate level when they're looking to make or understand how they can make continued progress in the gym using those big three lifts. So what we've got on the table, we've got a 4-category table. We've got percentage of 1 rep max, rep range, total range, and optimal. So rep range is the ideal number of reps per set. Total range is the total number of reps for that given percentage. And the optimal is the ideal or theoretical number of reps you should be able to achieve at that given percentage. What percentage? We've got 4 percentage categories. We've got below 70%, we've got 70 to 79%, 80 to 89%, and 90% plus. So when we speak about what intensities we need to work at to bring about those strength adaptations which we seek, a large percentage, and I mean a large percentage of our total training volume is going to be based in these 2 categories here. So the 70 to 79% and the 80 to 89% range. Why? Well, because that's submaximal, it's going to allow us to achieve a lot of training volume without having to worry so much about having technical breakdown or form breakdown. Whenever we typically go above 90% in lifts, you can expect to some degree technical breakdown or form breakdown. How much is going to be dependent lifter to lifter, but not a lot of people are very experienced at lifting 90% and above. You need to develop that tolerance by doing a lot of submaximal lifting so that you can go into your 90% confident that your form isn't going to let you down. So let's start using an example so you can begin to understand how this table can influence your training, or it can help guide your training in the right direction. So let's say, for the sake of keeping things simple, we had someone with a squat max of 100 kilo, and the first training cycle we wrote for them, we wanted them to work at 75%. So that's pretty easy to work out. So we've got 75 kilo on the bar. So with 75 kilo on the bar, we need them to perform 3 to 6 repetitions per set, with the total number of reps lying between 12 and 24, with perhaps the optimal number being 18. So if we're always striving to get to the optimal number, which might not be a bad thing, but remember it's just a guide. If we want to shoot for that optimal number, how can we get there using sets of 3 or 6? Well, exactly that. We need to use sets of 3 or 6, so we can do 3 sets of 6 or 6 sets of 3. Now, are they different? Yeah, they are. Regardless of the fact we've lifted the same amount of total repetitions, and in actual fact we've lifted the total amount of weight exactly the same, but 6 sets of 3 is going to be vastly different to 3 sets of 6. So 3 sets of 6 might be a little bit more fatiguing because the set lasts that little bit longer, whereas 6 sets of 3 is over that much quicker, and it might allow you to perform each rep with slightly more force or power, if you like, that can assist your strength gains over the long term. Is it wrong? No, because the total training volume is the same, but how you chose to get there is just a little bit different. As I said, 18 is an optimal guide. It doesn't mean it's the number you should always shoot for. So let's continue to use that example. So that first person has gone away and completed that first squat workout of that block, and they did it at 75 kilo, and they completed 3 sets of 6 for an optimal number of 18 reps. They come back the following week or a few days later and they want to repeat that workout. Well, what can they do? They can progressively overload that in a number of ways. So they can simply add weight to the bar. So they can jump from 75 kilo to 80 kilo, maybe even 85, depending on how efficient and quick the movement was last time and how much they felt they had in the tank. If they can progressively overload, fantastic, because it means that they can just achieve more total training volume just by altering the load on the bar. Winner. We can also ask them to add more sets in. So say, for example, the 75 kilo last time was a bit of a push. We can just simply say, well, okay, let's add a set in and see if we can get that out and achieve more total volume via a way of increasing the number of total reps we performed. Either way, we're still falling within what this intensity block would require to bring about positive adaptations. As I said, don't always chase the optimal number because it might leave you stuck in terms of the sets and rep schemes you choose or you can use to get you there. So one really popular strength method that will fall in this intensity zone is 5x5. That's a great method and a great way of going about improving strength gains. You know, you can stay 5x5 and you can just progressively seek weight increases to the bar. You can do it via a whole host of ways. So let's say you had someone finish that volume block where you had them working at 75% for a number of weeks, 3 to 4 weeks maybe, and they made good progress in terms of being able to add load to the bar, or they were able to achieve more total training volume gradually over the course of the training block. Let's say now you wanted to move them onto some kind of intensity block where the emphasis was on moving them closer towards their 1 rep max. So let's say we wanted to work in this intensity zone here. Let's say we selected 85% as what we wanted them to jump to. We're going to assume their 1 rep max is still the same. So let's say 85%, 85 kilo for their squat workouts. They can now work within the 2 to 4 repetitions per set, with an ideal number being 15. We've spoken about how you need to alter this in order to get to this, so I don't need to talk about that again. But let's say they went away in that intensity block, carried it out for 3 to 4 weeks, did all the things they did in their volume block, progressively overload, gradually got up to more training volume over the course of 3 or 4 weeks or however long the block was. Perhaps after that block they might want to retest their squat max to find out what level of progress they made. Hopefully they find they've made some adequate progress without ever having to have gone above 90% of their max. They can then use that new repetition max to calculate their percentages for training beyond that point. I've also kind of crudely described periodization within this video as well. So it's where we fluctuate between a period or a block of volume and a period or a block of intensity. Periodization is just a planned manipulation of training variables to bring about a training effect. So that's in effect what we've done with this very simple example here. As I said from the outset, there are some limitations behind Prilipin's table also. And one of the biggest ones being that these intensity ranges are quite broad. So, you know, 3 sets of 6 at 70% is vastly different to 3 sets of 6 at 79%, for example. if we're still looking at this number of 18 as an optimal number. The same at 3 sets of 5 at 80% is going to be significantly easier than 3 sets of 5 at 89%, if we're looking further down the scale also. So the intensity ranges is one of the downfalls about the Prilipin chart. It's not a big downfall. Remember, it's just a guide. Just use the table as a guide to understand how many reps you need to complete per set for a given percentage, and then how many total reps you need to perform for that given percentage to elicit the right type of training response and to prevent overtraining, to prevent injury, and allow you to continue to make progress further down the line. Also, another slight limitation of using Prilipin's table is that the fact it's based around weightlifters. Now, the art of clean and jerking and snatching typically doesn't involve long, slow, eccentric contractions. So when we perform the deadlift, the squat, and the bench press, we have to go through that. And that creates a large amount of damage to both the central nervous system and the muscular system. So it can impact your ability to perform the desired amount of repetitions that it says so on the table, but equally recover from that bout of exercise also. So just bear that in mind. As I said from the outset, the table's there as a guideline. It's not there as a set in stone thing. Don't act like it is. It's just there to help guide you when working in given percentages, so you can understand how many total reps you need to achieve at that percentage to bring about those gains in maximal strength, which we seek when we strength train. As ever, guys, I hope this video has helped. Please feel free to leave us your comments and questions, and let us know any topics you want to see covered in future videos. And until next time, stay strong